it to the very back cover in a little bit. Okay, so yesterday we did dividing fractions. We did not move forward with anything else so as not to overload us. Today we're going to do dividing decimals and turning fractions, or dividing the top by the bottom. So let's go over our multiplying and dividing rules. Hold on. It's on the screen, Emily. It's at the top left-hand corner. Okay. So when I multiply a positive and a positive, my answer is going to be what? Positive. Good. When I multiply a negative and a negative, my answer is going to be positive. And when I multiply a negative with a positive or a positive with a negative, my answer will be negative. Remember, these are not the same as addition and subtraction. So make sure if you don't already have this written in your notebook, it finds its way inside your notes. You will need it. Morning, sorry. Got water going over here. That's why I was trying to get you not to touch it. You're so good. We tried, but I brought in like so many paper towels. And it wasn't doing anything. It's just like, it's literally just gets wet and then. And just get wet. And more wet. What? I didn't hear you. You didn't finish. Oh my God. You wrote it on the desk. Don't forget to put the title on. Okay, so we're going to look at dividing signed decimals today. So I didn't print it out for you because you're going to write it down. So we have our example problem and we have our criteria for success. Remember to write down the title, the problem, and the criteria for success, which is your steps to accomplish the problem. I'm going to give you a second before we start working it out. Those of you at home, remember, if at some point you can't see the screen, you can't hear me, or you have a question, make sure to either say it out loud or type it in the chat. Okay, first step, we want to move decimal over as many spaces as the outside tells you. Okay, so here we have 4.07 divided by 0.2. So if my number on the outside were a whole number with no decimals, then I don't move the decimal inside. But because my number on the outside is a decimal, I want to move it over to make it easier for us to divide. So here, I want to make this a whole number, so I'm going to move it to the right one time. So if I move it one time on the outside, that means I'm going to move it over on the inside one time. So I'm not getting rid of it completely on the inside. I only move it over once. So I'm going to rewrite my problem. So it is now 2 and 40.7. So 40.7 divided by 2. So when you're writing this down in your notebook, I would draw a little arrow to signal that movement of the decimal. Everybody with me so far? Okay, so remember, if you still have trouble with your divisions, on one of the sides of your sheets, you do have division. So I like to start with the first number. I don't go straight to 2. So what is 4 divided by 2? 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write the 2 above the 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract. Bring down my 0. What is 0 divided by 2? 0. Yeah, so I'm just going to put 0. 0 times 2 is 0. Subtract is 0. Bring down my 7. When I bring down my 7, I'm going to take that opportunity to bring up my decimal. Because chances are, if I don't bring it up when I come to it, I will forget later. True story. So 7. How many times does 2 go into 7? 3. 3. 3. Oh, you're like going above and beyond. Okay. 3 times 2. 6 minus gives me 1. So what do I do now? I can divide it again. I got to put in a 0 here. And then I bring down that 0. So then 2 goes into 10 how many times? 5. So 5 times 2, 10, which is what Ulivani was saying, 0.35. But we had to get there naturally. We couldn't just like, how did we get it, you know? So you're right. Our answer is 20.37, 35, not 37. We're going to do a few more. So this is basically dividing by hand. So past moving of the decimals, everything else is just regular division. Make sure you have this written down completely, all the steps and everything. I know you can't see the other 10 and the 0, but I don't think this will last all day. I can't deal with this. I feel like I have a bird's nest on my head. Okay. Is it showing up on your screen as in you're going to draw it? Why is it doing that? Let's just go with it. I'm going to rewrite it. It's weird. Okay. So what do I have to do first?
Move the decimal.
move the decimal over. So I can move the decimal over one time on the outside. So that means on the inside, how many times do I move it? One time. And now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. Okay, so once I rewrite it, I'm still going to start with that 0, because if I start with the 6 and then I kind of move my numbers, I will probably end up with my numbers written in the wrong order or the decimal in the wrong place. Or what you can do is, because you know that it would be a 0, you can put an X right there over the 0, and that way it fills in that space. And then 3 goes into 6 how many times? 2. So 2 times 3 is 6. I subtract, it gives me 0. I bring down my 9, and I bring up the decimal. Then 3 goes into 9, 3 times. 3 times 3, 9. And then I bring down the 4. 3 goes into 4 how many times? 1 time. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to put a 0, bring it down. 3 goes into 10. 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, which gives me 1. So you notice it's going to kind of start doing the same process over again. So you can just leave it like this. If you were to keep going, it's probably going to end up being, okay, I bring down another 0. It's going to be 3. And then it's 9 again. And so that 3 would keep going. Not the 3, 1, 3, just the 3. So you can do 2.313 with that 3 repeating. Hopefully the next one works so that you guys can do it. I don't know why it's not. Does everybody have this written down? You good? Okay. I mean, granted, the internet at my house sucks lately too, but I mean, like, really? Go ahead and work this one out at least on your paper. And I can't even get like the Nearpod edit to work on my computer, so I can't even edit it from here. Yeah, hold on a second. So this one is 0.50 and then 8,675. So I want to make sure that we did this part right. So the number on the outside has how many places behind the decimal? 2. So I want to move it over 1, 2 places. Do I have a decimal on the inside? No. But I have an invisible decimal on the inside. Where would my invisible decimal be? At the very end. So I still have to move it because I can't just be like, I'm fixing the number on the outside, but then I'm doing nothing to the one on the inside. That's not how it works. So you have to put in your invisible decimal and move it over 1, 2 times. What goes in those places? 0. So when I rewrite it, it looks like this. So 867,500. So you have to be careful with this, and that's why I did this one, because I wanted to make sure that you knew that you still have to move over decimal places.
There was even a 0 and 5 after.
I don't know.
You're not right now.
So I need it.
I saw that you were raised it. I don't doubt it. You were raised.
So that one should go about 6. So you have that one and you have to.
Okay, let's go ahead and look up here, and I know everybody's not finished, but everybody has it started at least. So let's go ahead and walk through this, because this, I think, is where we're having our very first mistake. So I need all eyes up here. Waiting for all eyes. Okay, so our first thing that I'm noticing that we're running into problems with is this first section right here. Does 50 go into 8? No, it doesn't. It doesn't go into 8. So you know what? To fix that problem, I'm going to put an X above the 8, because 50 does not go into 8. Does 50 go into 86? Yes. How many times? 1. So now I'm going to put that 1 over 6. Don't judge my 1. 1 times 50 is 50. So the reason I do this is because if I just jump straight to 50 goes into 86, I'm more likely to put my 1 over the 8. And then what happens is that all my numbers run differently. And if I were to have to put a decimal or something in there, I would end up putting it in the wrong place. Just like we did with the smaller numbers, you want to do it even more with the bigger numbers. So 6 minus 0 Okay, 36. I'm gonna take your word for it. Okay, then I bring down my 7. So how many times does 50 go into 367? 7 times. So I'm going to put my 7. 7 times 50, 350 gives me 17. I bring down my 5. 50 goes into 175. 3 times. 3 times 50. 150. 5 minus 0. I bring down my 0. 50 goes into 250. Take your word for it. 5. I like to count by 50 like I count by 5. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. 5 times 50 is 250. Subtract. Bring down my 0. How many times is 50 going to 0? 0. So 0 times 50 is 0, which gives me 0. So our answer is 17,350. And I know this isn't the only way to divide. It's just the one I'm using. If you use a different method, that works. And we're going to keep coming back to this. This is just kind of, it should be a review of dividing with decimals because we're going to keep seeing it. We're going to be seeing it with subtraction and negative signs. And again, you're going to be doing this section without a calculator. Okay, so converting fractions to decimals. First thing I got to do with my fraction is turn it into a division problem. How do I turn it into a division problem? 3 divided by 4. So, biggest issue that we find here is, yes, you say 3 divided by 4. But then when you go to write it down, you end up doing something like this. Is this right? This is not correct. Just because 4 is bigger does not mean 4 goes on the inside. If this helps at all, you're going to go top number goes in, bottom number goes out. In, out. I would write that down, not just stare at it on the screen. So I do 3 divided by 4. So this is going to work just like what we were just doing. Does 4 go into 3? No. So I'm just going to put, I can put a 0, I can put an X. I'll put a 0. What do I do now? Make another 0 where? Inside. But do I just put another 0 or do I have to put something before the 0? A decimal. So I have to do decimal 0. Because anytime I go to add my first 0, you have to put a decimal. So now, does 40 go into 30? Yes. How many times?
7.
What? Check your multiplication charts or your division charts. Look at 8, 7, 15. 8, 7. What am I going to get?
There's 28.
28. So 7, 8. What is it?
7.
21.
7 times 4. When I subtract, it gives me 2. So then I add another 0. Bring it down. 4 go into 20. 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20, which gives me 0. And my answer is 0.5. 0.75. So we are going to get to, I had one last year. I don't remember where I put it. A chart with your easy conversions. So like the basics. So 3/4 you should have already known was 0.75 because 1/4 is what decimal? Oh, we don't know any of them.
Oh, 0.25.
0.25. So 1/2 is, did you know that 1/2 is also 2/4? So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 is 0.75. So these should be your easy ones. Like super easy ones. Just like 1/3 is 0.3333. So like I'm gonna get you a chart, but you're not just gonna see the easy ones. You're going to see the other ones, which is why it is important for you to know how to convert them. Okay, 3/5. What goes in, what goes out? So 3 is in, 5 is out. Does 5 go into 3? No. So what do I do? Decimal 0. Does 5 go into 30?
Yes.
How many times?
6.
6. 6 times 5?
30.
30. Okay, so I recommend you always go 2 numbers after the decimals. So I'm still going to add another 0, bring it down. 5 go into 0. 0 times 5 is 0, which gives me 0.60 or 0.60, however you'd like to write it. Two 6. What goes in?
2.
What goes out?
6.
Okay, does 6 go into 2?
No.
No. What do I do?
0.0.
0.0. Does 6 go into 20?
Yes.
How many times?
3.
3. 3 times 6 is 18. 2. 0 and bring it down. 6 go into 20. 3 times. 3 times 6? 18. So what are we noticing? Repeating. Did you know that 2/6 is also 1/3? Oh, I can see his face under the mask. And that's one of the ones I was just telling you should be one of your easy fractions to remember. If you don't know what it's equivalent to, how are you going to solve it? Okay, make sure this is down. You're going to do the next 2 on your own on the screen because this one does work. You can do it on the screen. Okay, this one works. I put it twice. Okay, go ahead and do these 2 on your screen.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, where can I get this? This side.
Remember, you can use your division sheet, you can use your multiplication sheet, your counting by number sheet. Make sure you put a circle around your answer.
Actually, I don't know how helpful it would be. But the first thing is to play it out in poster form and kind of have it somewhere in the room to like the time. And I wanna do the rules again. And how they'll start in the front. I don't know how the multiplication. Yeah, how the multiplication. So I might just do that one in the front. And I laminated this one. So it did fade, but I don't really that one, so it's completely gone.
Oh, I put it in the back.
What's wrong?
Oh my God, you're gonna go very important. It's not really seven. You have it right, you crossed out seven, nine, and seven. But then, seven, okay, so one has to be like zero. If we don't do that, then you need that small one, I'm gonna have this as an average. Does it make sense? Is it important? I'm sure. So. I'm gonna say, seven. Right, first off, then it doesn't count.
The top number you
So what I'm saying is, you put an X here, you want to
Oh,
go
the
one
first thing
there.
I said.
And where's my decimal? It's after the one, so you're calling it on the seven, one five. And you know that's not true, right? So yes, you're right, you put that above here. And nine isn't even seven.
Oh, you don't make a mistake.
Oh, nine isn't seven.
I didn't say you
My
can't
house is
write
nine,
it
one,
first.
seven. Well, nine times is those are the lines. They're down here close to seven. Okay, so half. Nice. So now if it's seven above that zero, why becomes plus 70, right? And that was 63, right? And then what do we get when we subtract?
Okay, so take another minute to finish up, and then we're gonna go over it on the board.
Okay, so I wrote 70. I got 70 again, so it's gonna go in another 7 times, I think. Right? Then what's gonna happen? I'm gonna keep going with 7. So this is gonna be this. Does it make sense? Because no matter how much I do this, every time it subtracts, so you have to go on and set. Then I have a 0 and then I make 7. And then you say there's a 7. And I'm gonna get 7. I'm gonna have a 0. And then, I can do 7 over and over and over and over and over and over again. How much time I do this? That's why this 7 is gonna continue. So I don't need to do it twice. .778. And when you read it here, you can use like .7. Do you want these around? So then, since you can't write this, oh yeah, you have to use for that.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at this first one. So does 9 go into 7? Does 9 go into 7?
Yeah.
No,
Wait, no.
like, look at the number, think about it before you say yes because it goes into the next one. No, it does not go into 7. So what do I need to do? 0.0. So does 9 go into 70?
Yeah.
Yes. How many times?
No.
7 times. 7 times 9? 63. When I subtract, it gives me 7. So I put another 0, bring it down. Does 9 go into 70?
Yes.
How many times? 7. 7 times 9 is 63. When I subtract, 7. What's the pattern?
We're gonna keep
Repeating. So it's repeating. My 77 is going to keep repeating. So it's 0.77 repeating. Next, does 20 go into 6?
No.
No. So I'm going to put my X. Now what do I do? 0.0. Does 20 go into 60?
Yeah.
How many times? 3 times. 3 times 20, 60, which gives me 0. But I'm going to put another 0, bring it down. Does 20 go into 0? No. So I'm going to put 0. 0 times 20 is 0. So my answer is 0.30. So 0.77 repeating and 0.30. Are we good? Did we write this down? Did we finish? Ish.
No.
Oh, before I go and I click to the next thing. Nah, you're good. That's literally the last slide before our classwork. So look, people can write on the screen.
Mine is like, I don't know what happened.
Excuses.
I mean, I can't put an answer.
Okay, go ahead and it should take you. Click on the link. If it doesn't, you know where it is. Okay, so today's classwork is 8 questions. It's based off of what we did today and yesterday, so it does look different on mine than yours. You click Start Quiz. Make sure to read if it asks you to do something specific. Use your notebook to show your work, to work out the problem. Finish days, and then we go back to yesterday. Don't take everything.
Bam.
Okay, for those of you at home, you're working on your classwork. If you finish your classwork, remember you can work on yesterday's classwork or Monday's if you didn't get a chance to finish.